Hello, 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 hello. Happy initial jobless claims, continuous jobless claims Thursday. How's everyone doing today? Good morning, Patrick. Good morning, Kevin. Good morning, Sterling. I know it's in here. Thank you for putting in all the news and the numbers. Where else we have? And the earnings, especially a CRM from yesterday was a beat, but guidance was not good. Guidance was not good. That's why it's down. Patrick is traveling this week. Safe travels, Patrick. What else? Yes, American Outfitters was a beat, but the stock is a. Oh boy. We all know why that stock's up. GitLab was a beat. Stock's down 5.99%. Good morning, Anissa. Good morning, Ted. All right. So we had the ADP numbers, which I don't pay much importance to on a week-to-week basis or every other week basis. It's more the trend, but it was lower than consensus and definitely down from prior. Good morning, John. The initial jobless claims were up. So initial jobless claims up, higher than consensus and higher than prior. Continuous jobless claims, slight drop. Slight drop, lower than previous and lower than consensus. So a little mix there. Productivity up, but labor costs down. So more productivity and you don't have to pay as much for it. So not really much of a reaction because nothing was shocking this morning. So in other news, imports up slightly, other prior to previous exports pretty much in line. So what else do we have coming up? We have the S&P Global Composite and Services number at 9:45 Eastern, and the ISM, the more important ones at ISM. It's going to be interesting to see because services prices to see if they are sticky. Coming in prior at 69.9. Also, employment ISM services employment was dropping prior, and we'll have to see if that's reinforced with this one, with prices staying sticky and employment down. So, what else? 4 and 8 week bill auctions. The EIA numbers, remember they were delayed from yesterday, so crude traders, they are today. Good morning, John. Yes, AI was a miss, down 14%. Hewlett Packard was a beat, stock up 5.39%. Hello, Charles. So that's what we have this morning. Remember, we do have the non-farm payrolls tomorrow, which everybody's waiting on, and it's the first non-farm payrolls since the last head was fired. So we'll have to see what that states. So tomorrow morning at 8:30 Eastern is going to be very important. We might have the markets waiting on that a bit. Pre-market, we have Amazon and Meta up. Google, Microsoft, Apple down. So, but Google and Apple have been on a run, especially Google, which broke out to new highs. We have Broadcom up going into earnings. There's Salesforce down 5.5%. So sort of a mixed morning in terms of the mega caps. In terms of groups and sectors, consumer cyclical up, utilities and comm services, but consumer cyclical is really driving it this morning. Basic materials taking a break after being on a run. Fed watch, we have pretty much the lock for the cut, but now we're not getting a 50 basis. I see people pointing out there, maybe they're going to push for a 50 basis point cut. There's going to be a 50 basis point cut. That's just to sort of say, okay, we could have been 50, so 25 is completely justified. Look, 25 is still dovish. That's what they're pushing for now. And then the other cut goes into October from December. It'll be interesting to see if December goes through a third cut. We'll see if 3 is back on the table. I don't know. With inflation core inflation running near 3%, that's going to be super interesting. Neutral mode on the markets, and Schiller PE 38.72, so still hovering near that 39 level. Good morning, Tony. Remember, there's not much this morning. Not much. I mean, Sterling didn't put in 800 flowers, Shoe Carnival, or Toro, so we know there's not much going on. After the close, so we got Broadcom and Lululemon are the 2 main ones I'm watching. And tomorrow is nothing. But Broadcom could really be interesting because AI related stuff and chips can get hit if they're not significantly beating, which can have effect on things. Oops, you know what I realized? You know what I realized? There we go. Green screen. Was too distracted this morning. There's too much. I only got an hour and a half of sleep last night. We had major storms and dogs were very scared. So I'm working on an hour and a half sleep. Yesterday did not close above the 62.5. Today poked through it. That's still key. 64.66. Oh, you did? Sorry, Sterling put them in. I missed them. Sorry, they go out of order sometimes. Sterling put them in. I was wrong. Today, 64, 66, 25 on the closing basis. Going into things, still watching this 64. It's slightly above that now. I'm going to bump this level up going into the open just slightly to around 64.70 for the little breakout above this prior resistance shelf. Then my target areas, if we move on up 64.82 to 64.85, 64.85 being the 75% harmonic. On a pullback, first level is 64.60, and then the next key level I'm looking at is about 64.55. Can't get anything bearish until we get below 64.55, because that's coming straight into support. And then I can't get overly bearish because we have, we could be slightly choppy today. The ISM numbers are going to somewhat dictate the direction for me, at least this morning. So that's where that sits. Overall, we have to still close above that 62.5. And we'll see if we can do that today or not going into non-farm payrolls tomorrow. The real breakdown for me is if we get back below the daily rotation zone and back below the closing price from Tuesday, which is roughly in line with Wednesday's lows. So that's the only way I can get more significantly bearish if we break that tomorrow morning. I doubt we'll break it today, even if we pull back. But that's the only thing that makes me shift significantly bearish. NASDAQ. Also, I didn't pull off the target. Sorry about that. From the head and shoulders, we completed that whole pattern. So that whole pattern is played out. Also in the NASDAQ, the whole pattern from the double bottom is played out. So those are done. The NASDAQ now, for me to get bullish, has to get above 23,531. Or it has to hit some support. There's significant support back about 23,450. It either has to trade support and show it can bounce there, or it has to, if it doesn't get down there, it has to get through 2351, or minorly, if it can plow above 23,500, then I'll look for retest of 23,531. Otherwise, this 23,450 is key. We break below there. I can't get short, though, until I can't do anything really from the short side until we get below about 23,435, because that would be into a clear path move. So that's the next level of support. So that's why I'm going to err on the side of a choppier day for planning out my morning, because we're coming into a key support zone. And there's overhead resistance. I'm just going to mark off the levels that I'm looking at. This is why I have to, stay with a potential choppier day, or at least tighter targets and tighter stops. Because you see on the breakdown side, there's support. On the breakout side, there's key resistance. And then, and only starting at about 531, but then the next target area is 550, 23,550. Then above there, it gets into a clear path move. So if you're watching something tomorrow, if we do bounce up above 23,550, you have a clear path move to the upside. Starting below 23,450, you have a clear path to the downside to about 23,330. Those are the two key major areas to trade into. Otherwise, you're trading into a lot of support resistance. The Dow The Dow still dipped in the rotation zone yesterday, reconfirmed a double top, but not triggered yet. Lots of buying pressure against prior support here in the rotation zone. By the way, a break above yesterday's high is a percent beat buy. And by the way, for that, my targets would only be at the prior highs. Russell, above yesterday's high is a percent beat buy. Dipped 2 times in a rotation zone. Also, it would be a rotation zone buy above yesterday's high. So, that's what we're looking at there. Key support on the Russell now is it's really strong around this 23.38 to 23.49. Those are the key support levels on the Russell. Cannot do anything with the short side on the Russell until it starts getting below 23.38. The VIX starting to drop. You know, I'm not going to wait necessarily until it gets all the way to re-add hedges until it gets all the way back down into the low areas. This is more of a scalpy thing. Want to reposition, especially a partial bit of it before non-farm payrolls. Okay, the DAX, interesting. The DAX breaking above yesterday's high for a potential percent beat buy. That's only for a bounce in the rotation zone for me. So as long as it closes above the yesterday's high, that's a confirmed percent beat buy. On the other hand, the percent beat buy that's triggered on the yields, we closed below the lows I said yesterday. So that is stopped and off the table. Rotation zone held, breaking the new lows. Now, we're still trading at a very key area. I cannot be aggressively short into here right now until we at least break below 4.16. Why? We've had a little pullback in the 30 yield, but the move index, which is the implied option volatility, is finally getting a little fire under it. So we could see a rise in volatility of the 2 to 30 year range. Keeping a very close eye on this. Okay, that's why I'm prepared for volatility, but until we really start breaking down below this 4.17 now, I can't be long, but I can't also yet be super short. So I'm going to be keeping an eye on the move index. Crude. Reversal bar breaking down so far this morning. Going to watch where it closes in relation to 63.25. We close below there on any bounces. I'll be looking for rollover plays. Gold, little pullback gold hitting the next harmonic, 36.36. Stopping pretty much on it yesterday, pulling back. So we don't have a major pausing bar yet. I'm hoping we at least don't take out yesterday's high so I can get the harmonic pausing area. On the shorter term, again, this is getting very overextended. Not saying would not short this at all. But we at least need a pause. Now, on the next push up, this isn't a confirmed pausing bar. It is a 4-hour. Okay? I prefer it to be confirmed on a daily, but on a push through yesterday's highs, 36.75, major cluster 37.04 to 37.11 for the next push up if it goes. Now, still majorly overbought, cycles at the top on the daily, but still climbing on the weekly and just entering overbought condition on the weekly. Oops. Oh, there you go. I didn't even see. Now you put in the move index. Good job, Jim. Good job, Jim. That was from Jim Bianco. Keep an eye on the move index. Along with me. There we go. Silver, take a little breather too. Not much to talk about there. Copper, not able to sustain a key level yet. Copper's the last thing I'm looking at. Still is falling through on the percent B bi-weekly, the weekly buy from a couple weeks ago, but entering the area of the weekly rotation zone. So this is a bounce only for me, Not a big move unless it can start sustaining again above this 200 area and this key gap open down. Dollar index still caught in the middle. Breakouts for me still 98.20, breakdown 97.20. Not much to talk about. Euros still caught in a sideways pattern. The yields on the yen just take a little break. Yields globally, the ones that have been rising are pulling back slightly. There's the yields, Great Britain, there's France, but still going to be looking for another rotation back up in those. The spiders, the spiders also did not close above 62.5 yesterday, so the key level for that is 644.02 still for today. We break above yesterday's highs and sustain it. We still have a gap fill to 645.05. And then the next target area is around 645.85. On a rollover, it's to the gap fill of yesterday, 643.74 is the first key level. The Qs filled the gap yesterday, but did not manage to close above the 62.5. Still need to close above about 571 to trigger that. And then 573.38 is the next target. On a rollover, it's to the minor gap fill to 570.07. Bitcoin also still holding key resistance and rotating back down. Ethereum, not yet triggered the potential double top. Is it off the table yet? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. We got one more day before it's extended too far to the right. So going to be keeping an eye on that through tomorrow. Bloomberg says Tesla's up on stronger than expected. Their sales were absolutely horrific. I don't know where Bloomberg, they're cherry picking one thing to try to justify why it's up. But we're not going short this yet until it breaks this trend line. Not looking to do any shorts because there's too much option activity on it. Broadcom has not invalidated the potential double yet going into earnings. So I think this could only be a play if they miss or do not meet expectations on their earnings. They could beat, but still not meet expectations. That would have to be traded intra-earning, like after the close with the after hours. The breakdown area is 281.87. On a beat, if they were to beat strongly and with really strong guidance, the miners 321.79. If it breaks new highs, then the 326.22 to 328, 26 to 28. Other than that, it's constrained within a range still, and it's still holding the weekly rotation zone. We got hit hard last night, Rick. We got hit hard last night. Again, thunder and lightning until 1:30 a.m. That's why the dogs weren't sleeping. So that's where we sit. Don't think there's much else to talk about. We also got Lulu. But I'm actually seeing if Lulu does beats, because we're against the rotation zone. We have not formed a double bottom yet. We're below the 62.5, but could see a potential bounce play if they do beat. If they don't, the next target's lower, 165.12, then 106.57 to really round trip to the 87.5. Their P to E, though, is getting down there. That's why I'm watching. If they do anything that does not suck, we could see a bounce into the weekly rotation zone. All right. Let's peek at the S&P, just going into the open. Not much to talk about. So I'm going to be watching the 9:45 and 10 a.m. numbers this morning. And still, we could have a choppier, more back and forth day because we have not the non-farm payrolls are going to be the only monkey wrench potentially in the cut situation. But if payrolls are weak, the cut is guaranteed. So let's see what happens tomorrow morning. With that, I shall talk to everyone later. Bye for now.